Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. The Curse of Oak Island, a second ancient Roman artifact and a possible second money pit, leave the team shocked. This week's The Curse of Oak Island saw the team uncover yet another Roman artifact along with a horseshoe with an incredible date, and a mystery feature is starting to look like a second money pit. My word, there was an awful lot happening on this week's episode. Here's a rundown of some of the key points. The guys have actually uncovered another ancient Roman artifact. The coin-shaped piece was located by Gary Drayton and Jack Begley on Lot 5, not far from where a Roman coin was found earlier this season. This object was not a coin but more likely a token or a barter piece. Coin expert and Oak Island regular Sandy Campbell was back in the war room. He said he was 100% sure the token was from ancient Rome and dated back to the 5th century AD. Sandy was so sure because he'd seen an identical artifact found at a Roman site in England, UK. All led Marty Lagina to ask what on earth this object was doing, buried 2 feet under the ground on Oak Island. The guys have been on the lookout for connections with the island, particularly those involving the medieval order of the Templar Knights. And they may have another one here. Area where the UK token was found is in a region of England that was part of the Roman Empire until the 5th century, but later became a Templar stronghold. Earlier this season, the team visited a suspected Templar cave at nearby Royston, England. Gary Drayton finds a history-changing artifact on Lot 5. The ancient artifacts were almost flying out of the ground this week. Gary found a little horseshoe, which is not very exciting in itself. He's found hundreds of horseshoes. However, expert blacksmith Carmen Legg dated this one to the 1400s. Carmen also explained that this was the oldest horseshoe he had ever seen in Nova Scotia. He also said that there are no records of horses in Nova Scotia before 1670. Thereby, this find could rewrite history. Further to that, Carmen explained that this shoe was for a commander's horse or a prestige horse as opposed to a workhorse. Again, what on earth is this artifact doing on Oak Island? In the meantime, archaeologists Laird Niven and Alex Lagina set about examining a new feature consisting of stones, placed in a circle with a depression in the middle. And they think they may have found a second money pit. The pair took a couple of measurements and found it was 13 feet wide, the exact same width as the original money pit, and the guys also suspected it might be part of a much wider structure, which may stretch underground. Have the Fellowship found a second money pit on Oak Island? Alex speculated that maybe this feature was the first attempt at constructing the money pit. Laird went further, suggesting it could be a prototype. Laird is usually very sober of character and never jumps to assumptions or conclusions, but he was left flabbergasted by this feature. Neither of the two vocalized outright what many viewers were possibly thinking. Could this be a second undiscovered money pit? Also, last night we learned that the Fellowship would be embarking on another field trip. This time they'll be examining a set of caves beneath the Italian town of Osimo. Italian researcher Emiliano Sacchetti is primarily carrying on the work of Zena Halpern, investigating the links between the Templar Knights and Oak Island, but intriguingly, he's also retrieved a map of the Osimo cave that seems to feature a cavern shaped like the 14th century lead cross found on Oak Island. The sun rose over Oak Island, casting long shadows across the island's dense foliage and rocky terrain. The team, consisting of seasoned treasure hunters, historians, and archaeologists, gathered at their base camp with renewed enthusiasm. Discovery of an ancient Roman artifact just weeks prior had ignited a fervor unlike any they had experienced before. As the morning mist lifted, the island seemed to whisper secrets of its buried past, enticing the team to delve deeper into its mysteries. Rick and Marty Lagina, the driving forces behind the Oak Island treasure hunt, stood before the team, their faces etched with excitement and determination. They had gathered everyone for a reason. Rick held up a weathered parchment, its edges frayed, and began to speak. Folks, we've received new information from our latest fans and historical research. It appears we may have overlooked a significant area of interest on the island. This location, based on our data, could be a second money pit. The team erupted in murmurs of disbelief and anticipation. The original money pit, discovered over 2 centuries ago, had tantalized generations with its promise of treasure, had also swallowed fortunes and lives in its depths. The idea of a second such site was almost too incredible to believe. And that's not all, Marty interjected, holding up a small, intricately carved object. We found this near the potential site of the second pit. It's another Roman artifact. Gasps filled the air as the team crowded around to get a closer look. The artifact was a bronze figurine, no larger than a man's palm, depicting a Roman soldier in full armor. Its craftsmanship was exquisite, and its presence on Oak Island was baffling. How did a Roman artifact end up here? Asked Alex Lagina, Rick's son and an integral part of the team. And what does this mean for our search? Dr. Lila Cortez, the team's historian, stepped forward. If this artifact is authentic, it could suggest that the Romans had some knowledge of or even visited this part of the world long before Columbus. It challenges our understanding of ancient navigation and trade routes. We need to investigate this thoroughly. The team quickly mobilized, setting up equipment and preparing for an intensive excavation. The potential site of the second money pit was in a dense part of the island, covered in thick underbrush and treacherous terrain. As they made their way through the forest, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. After hours of grueling work, they reached the location identified by their scans. It was an unassuming patch of ground, indistinguishable from the surrounding area. But the equipment indicated there was something buried deep below. They set up a drill rig and began the painstaking process of boring into the earth. As the drill bit descended, tension mounted. Each inch brought them closer to either a monumental discovery or another frustrating dead end. Suddenly, the drill hit something hard. The team exchanged glances, hearts pounding. They carefully extracted a core sample, and what they found sent shivers down their spines. Buried within the sample were fragments of wood and metal, eerily reminiscent of the materials found in the original money pit. "This is it," Rick said, his voice barely above a whisper. "We need to go deeper." The excavation continued, now with an urgency fueled by the tantalizing possibility of treasure. Days turned into weeks as they meticulously dug, uncovering more artifacts and clues. Each find was cataloged and analyzed, revealing a complex web of historical connections that hinted at something far greater than they had ever imagined. Among the finds were more Roman artifacts, coins, pottery shards, and even a piece of a Roman gladius. These discoveries suggested not just a fleeting visit but a significant presence. The implications were staggering. Dr. Cortez proposed a bold theory. What if Oak Island was a secret Roman outpost, a place where they conducted trade or hid treasures far from the prying eyes of their enemies? This could rewrite history. As they delved deeper into the second pit, the team's excitement was tempered by the ever-present dangers. The original money pit was notorious for its booby traps and flooding tunnels. Every step had to be taken with extreme caution. One fateful afternoon, as they unearthed a large, waterlogged chest, the team's efforts were rewarded. They pried it open to reveal a trove of gold coins, jewels, and intricately crafted artifacts. The sight left them speechless. "We did it," Marty said, his voice choked with emotion. "We found it." But the discovery raised more questions than answers. How did these treasures end up here? Who buried them, and why? And what role did the Romans play in this enigmatic island's history? As the team celebrated their find, they knew their journey was far from over. The second money pit had opened a new chapter in the mystery of Oak Island, one that promised even more astonishing revelations. Rick stood at the edge of the pit, looking out over the island. "We've only just begun to scratch the surface. There's so much more to uncover, so many more secrets to reveal." The curse of Oak Island had delivered another astonishing twist. but its greatest mysteries still lay hidden beneath the earth, waiting for those brave and tenacious enough to seek them out. And the team, now more driven than ever, vowed to continue their quest until every last secret was brought to light.